Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you all got some good rest. Good morning. Good to see my crew this morning. I'm starting to like seeing y'all here on Periscope. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Come right on in as you're coming in. Come in with some expectation and invite your friends and your followers. Just go on ahead and let's just invite them. All you have to do is if you have an Apple, just scroll from left to right and you'll have the opportunity to share. If it's Android, just go top to bottom. Good morning, good morning, good morning from Chicago. Good morning from all nations. Your pastor will be here in a few hours. Good morning, Buffalo in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I appreciate that. Thank you. I pray that the ministry is helpful in your destiny and in your call. That's important to me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. Glad you made a double dose. Hey, Marlo, good morning. Good morning. Love you all very much. Good morning from Indianapolis. Good morning from Delaware. I have a friend that used to pastor in Delaware. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. Grateful that you're here. I hope that you got some good rest last night. Philly in the house, good to see you. Wichita, Kansas, good morning. Good morning. Good morning from Hope Hills, North Carolina. Richmond, Virginia. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Dion. Good morning. Good to see you. Tonight's going to be powerful. Don't miss it. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Yeah, I believe it too. I believe he's going to come in here and beat this place up. If you're anywhere in the Texas area, let me encourage you to be in service with us tonight. Dr. Matthew Stevenson will be with us. And it'll be a quite prophetic night where he'll be proclaiming the word of God, and I don't want you to miss it. So if you are in anywhere in the Texas area, you will not be disappointed for your drive. You will actually be quite blessed for your sacrifice, and you won't be in any accidents, and you won't have any injuries, and you'll probably come on to great blessing and great things that are in store for you. But sometimes you have to leave where you are to travel to where God has for you to be in order to receive a blessing. Don't you understand that Jesus does not get his gifts if they do not travel outside of their land where they are and they start going someplace else? So sometimes you have to leave where you are to get certain gifts that are waiting for you. And when you get there, it's all good. All right, that one was free. So let's do a little work here. I want to encourage you for the rest of your day, and I believe that you are going to really prosper and really be on top of your game. But the way that we make sure of that is that we remind ourselves of one simple phrase. Don't you remember when if you ever had brothers and sisters or anybody that you care about or anybody that you know of would walk up to you and say, hey, I'm sorry. And if you didn't say anything when you were a kid, your mother would probably walk up to you and say, what do you say? I just did that to my kids last night. My son was up, he was mad, and he stepped on his sister's foot on purpose. And I said, Noah, go tell your sister you're sorry. And he walked up to her and he said, I'm sorry. And his sister looked at him like, you don't mean that. Dad just made you say that. And she didn't say anything back. And I said, Zion, what do you say? Oftentimes, the response of forgiveness has to be verbalized in order for it to be internalized. I know that sounds a bit unusual, but oftentimes the authenticity of your forgiveness must be verbalized. It's something about when you say something out loud that you begin to process it in your heart. Certain things just have to leave your vocal cords and leave your mouth, not just live in the intent of your mind, but it has to leave the vocalization of your mouth to establish a thing almost in great meaning. So I want to encourage you today that some of us need to be able to hear ourselves say, I forgive. Notice the position of Jesus, and I think this is very, very interesting. He's hanging on the cross, and he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, that's an interesting statement because the soldiers are very intent about what they are doing. They know exactly what they're doing to him. They know exactly how they're trying to hurt them. They know exactly how they're trying to discourage him. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's interesting that Jesus says to them, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do? They did not know who they were doing it to. The Bible says that if the prince of this world and if the powers of this world would have known, they would have never crucified the King of Glory, which means they would have never put their hands on him. Why? Because crucifixion was the thing that is about to unlock the only avenue and bridge to forgiveness and peace that we would know. And if he would have been smart, he would have let Jesus live and he would have never touched him. So let me encourage you, whatever you're going through, whoever you're going through, whatever obstacles you feel like you have been set back by because of the meanness, the agitation, the anger, or the aggravation of somebody else trying to be mean to you on purpose, trying to hurt your feelings, let me just encourage you, forgive quickly. When you forgive, you unlock the mode of blessing that you need and that they need. You have to forgive quickly. I love you, Melissa. You have to forgive quickly. When you forgive quickly, you don't have to now be bound to the past in the event of an untimely death. Listen, there are some people that we are upset with that are not breathing anymore. And that is the worst kind of unforgiveness, because that unforgiveness can mutate into grief. It can mutate into grief. And then all of a sudden that grief can mutate into bitterness. If you're not careful, you'll be shadow boxing with ghosts for the rest of your life. There is nothing worse than fighting somebody that is not here any longer. And I really felt that for you this morning as I was praying before I got on this Periscope. I'm praying for the people that are on here and that the people that will come across this message, that they will stop fighting with ghosts, that they will stop fighting with people that aren't around anymore. They will stop fighting with people that aren't even thinking about you anymore, holding things against people that they don't even know that you're holding it against them. Unforgiveness is like letting somebody live in your mind rent free. And I'm a good landlord. And if I've got property and you're staying on it, I'm going to expect you to pay for it. And so I'm not going to hold anybody and let them live in my mind rent free, not have to make any deposits of relationship, just walking around with a grudge, walking around with unforgiveness. Can I tell you that grudges, you know what a grudge match is? A grudge match is a series of matches that two people would have in a wrestling ring to prove their worth. And the reason why they needed to have a grudge match is because whoever lost the first match would be so angry that they would demand a rematch. And then whoever would lose that match would be so angry and filled with hatred that they would have to have a rematch again. The grudge match. Some of us are in grudge matches with people because we're so angry that we feel like they have the upper hand on us, that we cannot find a place of forgiveness. That I wore this shirt on purpose. I went to bed with it on purpose because I wanted to make sure that I wore it for you. Do you not know that the central point of this man's life is hinged on unforgiveness? His wife dies and he turns to a dark side, a dark path. And then he begins to try to inflict that on his son, that the only way that you can have access to power, that the only way that you can have access to security and freedom is by having a level of unforgiveness that turns into a dark side. But his son is able to overcome it by not destroying his father. He then, before his father dies, is able to come to grips with it and say, you know what, I'm going to forgive this guy because I don't want to end up like you. And there are some people that are mentoring you and that have mentored you in the art of unforgiveness and the dark side. You learn from an angry mother that all men are like this because one of them hurt you. Well, that can't be true because you haven't dated all men. At least I hope you haven't. So all of us can't be in the same category of the pain that you received from one or two or three or four. There are more men than 5 men. So you cannot hold them to the same standard of pain that you experienced from a mean father or a nasty uncle or an upset grandfather, whatever the case may be. Just like men should not be able to say that all women are just after your little stank little pocketbook. You got $8 in that little wallet. Ain't nobody after that snack money. But just because you bought somebody a couple of supersized fries and you got confused because she wouldn't take you home and let you touch the goods, and now you thought you wasted your money on your little supersized meal, now you think all women are using you. Wake up, man. Ain't nobody using you. Get your little hormones under control, and you wouldn't have these unnecessary expectations on the precious jewel called woman. What am I telling you? We all have a way of holding on to grudges. Yeah, it's time to wake up. We here now. Yes, now we all have a way of holding on to grudges and categorizing people in places that they do not deserve to be. Release the gates of purgatory, get your relationships out of limbo, and begin to forgive people. Jesus was so masterful on the cross in the midst of his greatest pain. Walk with me through this. Jesus was masterful on the cross in the midst of his greatest pain. He was able to endure the pain. The pain did not consume him nor make him bitter. And he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Can I tell you that your accusers, that your abusers, that the people that are misusing you, slandering you, talking about you, they don't know what they're doing. They think they know who they're doing it to. But if they knew that the keys of their destiny and their future probably resides in your mouth, they would probably leave you alone. They would probably walk off. They would probably not throw those stones of accusation at you. But they can't see the gift in you. You want to know why? We got to read our Bibles. Here's why. Because this treasure, this gift is hidden in this earthen vessel. They don't know what's in you. They don't know the dreams that you've had. They don't know the words that have been spoken to you. They don't know that you are just one step away from $1 million project. They don't know. So they treat you like dirt and they mistreat you. All they're really doing is just letting you know that they're not fit to go to the next level with you. But what you have to do is you have to be mature enough to still forgive them. If you don't forgive them and God speaks to you and tells you to do something generous for them and you don't do it, then you quench the blessing and the flow of the stream of what needs to get into your life in order for you to receive what you need to receive. So what am I telling you? Forgive quickly. They know not what they do. They cannot perceive nor understand how talented and how gifted you are. So what you're going to have to do is just get over that teacher with the wart on her nose. Don't let the supervisor that is making things difficult for you. Don't let any of that stuff stop you. Be angry, sin not. Be angry, sin not. Be angry, sin not. I'm not trying to rob you of your natural emotion to be angry and frustrated. Have it, keep it, whatever. But let me caution you before you live on the nipple and the bottle of anger, before you drink from that cup consistently. Let me caution you. Here is your caution. Do anger rest in the bosom of fools. Anger rests in the bosom of fools. And a foolish man is foolish in his thoughts and perceptions on what is going on around him. That is what makes him foolish. He becomes foolish because by his response to difficult times. Anger prohibits your response to painful and difficult times. You are entitled to your anger, but if it begins to rest in your bosom, if it begins to rest in you, anger rests in the bosom of fools, because it is a foolish man that will live off of the meat of anger and think that it is his portion. Now, let me tell you this. Anger is satisfying. And I know the hearts are going to go away because I know y'all don't like this because I'm making some of y'all mad right now. But anger rests in the bosom of fools because anger quenches the sight of response. You're going to have to learn how to respond when people make you angry. I was angry the other night. I got a response. I got a message from somebody that I love dearly, that I have sown into, that I have believed in, that I pray for, and the message was very presumptuous. The message was very accusatory. The message was very angry on their part. And what I had to do was I had to stop. I had to throw my phone in the trash for a second and say I cannot respond because anger is trying to rest in my bosom, and it's going to cause me to say something foolish. And I quenched the fire in my tongue, and I grabbed my teeth and I shut them closed. And I said, until you deal with this anger from what you think is going on, you cannot respond. I shut it down, and I did not shut the person down. I shut Brandon down. You got to have the courage to shut yourself down, to sit. See, listen, you won't listen to anybody else sitting you down. So have the courage to sit yourself down. down and say, sit down for a second. Go drink some water. Go take a deep breath, because this anger is going to birth unforgiveness. And if this unforgiveness begins to grow, it's going to grow like a weed, and it's going to choke out my destiny, and it's going to choke out my favor, and it's going to choke out my moment. And I refuse to get in the UFC octagon with anger and unforgiveness. It'll choke you out. It's more prepared than you. It's stronger than you. So you got to get it before it gets rolling fast. You got to win that battle before it even starts. So whatever has happened to you, or whatever is currently happening to you, do yourself a favor after you share this Periscope. I need you, if you're just coming in the room, I need you to share this, because this is the thing that's going to really set you free. What you have to do is you have to free yourself from the issues of the present. Yes, from the issues of the present. Free yourself from the issues of the present. Some of you are going through some things right now presently. And if you don't free yourself from the expectation of the society, what society says getting even is. Society says cut them off. Society says get rid of them. Somebody asked me yesterday, which is what really sparked all of these thoughts in my mind. Somebody asked me this yesterday. They said, Pastor Brandon, how do I know when I'm truly walking in forgiveness? Here's how you know. You can see the accuser and you not get that nauseous feeling in your stomach. You can see the person that has done you wrong, and you don't have to run to the bathroom real quick and hide in there. You'll be able to look at them and not try to act like you're on your phone real quick. Listen, I used to be so bound by unforgiveness that I would hide behind a cell phone. Do you know that you can hide behind a cell phone? The thing is only this big, but you can become invisible to the outside world. Why? Because when you're on your phone, people try to give you the common courtesy not to approach you with pleasantries and say hello to you and wave hi and try to come hug you. And when I was bound with unforgiveness, I would put that phone to my face and I would become invisible to the world. We got to stop hiding behind our electronic devices, being false, acting like you know what, the next time you think somebody is lying on their phone, call them real quick and let it vibrate on their face, and you can watch their ears vibrate. You ain't on the phone. You just pretending because you don't want to talk to me. Let's address these issues head on, and let's get over the hurdle of unforgiveness. Here is the number one thing that feeds unforgiveness: lack of communication. What you will not talk about, you will live in perpetually for the rest of your life. What you will not talk about, what you will not confront with a conversation. But we hate confrontation with communication because we hate exposing our emotions. I'm getting ready to deal with you today. We hate exposing our emotions because we hate being vulnerable. But can I tell you that vulnerability is the authenticity of relationships? Any relationship that you are not vulnerable in, it's a dictatorship. And you are now living with Hitler telling you to do what you want him to do. And you're just a maid. You're just walking around. If you do not have vulnerability, you do not have relationship. If you do not have a conversation, you will not have vulnerability. And if you do not have a conversation and communication, you will live in the grudge match of your life forever. You cannot live there. You cannot stay there. You cannot live there. You cannot stay there. Do not take that grudge into 2016. Man, forget that. Don't take that grudge into 7 a.m. Amen. Don't take that grudge into noon today. Don't take that grudge into 7 p.m. Don't do it. Some of the sicknesses in our hearts, in our physical bodies, are attached to the stress of maintaining unforgiveness. Boy, that blessed me. Some of the sicknesses in your body is attached to the stress that it takes to maintain unforgiveness. Stress maintains unforgiveness, and unforgiveness cannot stay if it is not maintained. Take a deep breath, hit the pressure release button on yourself, and allow yourself to forgive. You have to forgive. You have to forgive. And you know what? You may have to forgive continually. You may have to forgive more than once. You may have to forgive the same person 8 or 9 times. I got somebody in my life that I've forgiven at least 20 times. And I know that I have, and it's not that I'm being foolish. You keep fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on them. Fool me twice, shame on me. Who came up with this nonsense rhetoric that makes us feel like you only have to forgive one time? And you know what? The problem is you haven't forgiven that person and you don't forgive yourself. Fool me once, shame on them. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, now you got two people you need to forgive. You need to forgive the people that stepped on your pinky toe, and now you need to forgive you because you think, oh, I left my pinky toe out there for it to be stomped on, and I just don't know any better, and I just need to do better, and if I knew better, I'd do. Forgive yourself, Lord Jesus, with this nonsense and this mind games and this buffoonery that we play on ourselves when we try to convince ourselves that we are the reason for all of the pain in our lives. Forgive yourself. If you don't forgive yourself, you're going to start making out with the neck of Budweiser. And then all of a sudden, she's going to become your girlfriend. And you're going to be intoxicated and drunk off of her goodness. Forgive yourself before you start kissing the back end of a joint and you begin to take in other vices. I'm being creative in how I'm describing it, but you get the point. If you don't forgive yourself, you're going to come in covenant with substances that will now begin to rule your life. They'll tell you when to get up. They'll tell you when to go to bed. They'll tell you how to act. They will embarrass you in public. Substance abuse rules your life, but it is stemmed on unforgiveness. You think you just doing it because you like the buzz. No, you like being in your natural mind, but it all begins when you try to medicate the pain because you don't like you, or you're lonely, or you're upset, Now you find yourself in an abusive situation. Stop abusing yourself. Forgive. Y'all all right? Give me some hearts if you're okay. You okay? I know I kind of come in here on 10 at 6 a.m., but I wake up at 5 a.m. on 8. So I can't help it. I hope, I'm in San Antonio. I hope that you want to be better, not bitter. Better, not bitter. I hope that you want to forgive and not be frustrated. Tonight, Dr. Stevenson, he's going to do this times 50 in like 30 minutes. So if you are in Texas, I want to encourage you, get here from Houston. I hope I get to see you. Blessings from Houston. I receive your blessings from Houston. Now come receive my blessing from San Antonio and come be with us in service tonight. It's going to be powerful. And I'm going to do my best to periscope as much of it as I can. But when the glory hits, I'll probably drop my phone and my daughter will probably pick it up and wave hello to y'all. And you'll see me doing laps around the church. So I love y'all. God bless you. Please, please, please do me a favor. Forgive. Please forgive. Your life depends on it. Your eternal security depends on it. Jesus said that unless you forgive, I can't forgive you. Unforgiveness is the only thing that keeps you locked out from God's forgiveness. So you want to make it in the pearly gates. You know, you live in this life just to live again. I know that's too old school for some of y'all. Anyways, forgive. Forgive so God can forgive you. All right. I love y'all. Be watching. It'll be on live stream as well. He'll be shaking those dreads and doing cartwheels. So it's going to be powerful. Don't miss it. It's going to be a prophetic moment as well. God bless y'all. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. You know what? Hold on. I'm not leaving yet. Give me some thumbs if you guys want to see me do a Periscope with Dr. Stevenson. I'm thinking about twisting his arm and we do a tag team Periscope. Would that be something y'all want to see? Give me some thumbs. Give me some thumbs. Give me some thumbs. Give me some thumbs. I'm going to ask him some questions tonight that we don't necessarily get to ask him on Periscope. You know, when Dr. Stevenson is teaching, man, he's going to kill me for saying this. When Dr. Stevenson is teaching, he don't really give time for questions too much, especially if you push that wrong button. He'll be like, oh, for real? Oh, we out. Goodbye. So I'm going to try to see if I can twist his arm and ask him some of the questions because I think we have mutual questions that we want to ask him. All right. I love you.